Hello, my wonderful math students. Today we're going to be working on solving some inequalities. So we've already solved equations and you're really good at that. Solving inequalities is very similar. There's not much that's very different about that, but we do have to make sure that we cover a couple of things. So if I have this problem in letter A, I want to graph this solution. I need to solve this just like I would in an equation. So to get rid of the adding 5 that's with the x, I would subtract 5 from both sides, right? We could have this vertical line right here, and I'm going to have x. Now, instead of an equal sign, I hope that you're okay with this symbol. That's a greater than or equal to. So the greater than part means that the x is going to be bigger than, or the one line underneath is like half of an equal sign. So it could also be equal to 5 minus 3, or 3 minus 5, I'm sorry, is negative 2. Now, when you're graphing this, if I give you a number line that's already numbered, fine, absolutely use that. If you're just making your own number line, please don't take a lot of time to make a huge number line. I need 3 numbers. Negative 2 is my important number on this graph. I want to have a number on each side of it. And remember, when we're in the negative numbers, really negative 3 will go over here, and negative 1 will go right here. This symbol, because it says greater than or equal to, is saying I could have negative 2 as one of my answers. So I'm going to put a filled in circle here at negative 2. Or I could have numbers that are bigger than negative 2. Numbers that are bigger than negative 2 are going to go to the right. Now, I want you to shade right on the number line, not above the number line. I know that some of your teachers in the past have had you shade above the number line to make it easier to see, and I get that. However, I'm saying that no other advanced math book that you're going to ever see, any textbook, anything where we're actually doing some math in here, it's going to have the shading up above the line. I'd like you to practice just shading it right on the line and just make sure that there's enough there that I can see it, right? Also, I want to point out this shading over here. See this arrow right there? Also matches that arrow. The inequality points to the right, the arrow points to the right. Then for number 2, I need to get the n by itself, so I would add 4. So I have that 2 is greater than n. My issue here is that I really want the variable first. When we were taking care of equations, I even said, I don't care, leave it just like that. But when we're going to be graphing, it really is beneficial if we have the variable first. So instead of 2 is greater than n, I would want to flip this whole thing around. See how that alligator's like trying to eat the 2. When I do this, I'm going to get that n is less than 2. The alligator's still trying to eat the 2. So 3 numbers on my number line. This time it just says less than. It doesn't say equal to. So in the first problem, you can see that we did this big filled in circle right here because negative 2 was actually one of the solutions. Here, 2 is not a solution, but everything right up to 2 is. So I don't try to put a dot close to it and hope that everyone knows what I mean. What we do is we're going to put an open circle there and say it can get infinitely close to 2, but not actually 2. And then I want all the numbers that are less than 2. Now, a couple of things. This looks kind of like an L that got kind of squished over a little bit. I'm going to be shading here because these are the numbers that are less than 2. And this arrow that I'm drawing right there matches that arrow in the inequality. Now, those 2 problems were just adding and subtracting. If we just multiply or divide by a positive number, it's exactly like our equations. No different at all. But if I'm solving an inequality and I have to multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to switch the direction of my inequality. Okay, so let's just pick a new color here. So here I would say, well, I just need to divide by negative 3. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. I purposely didn't put the inequality sign in there yet, but because I divided by a negative number, this is going to flip to be that. So x is greater than 4. So when I do this, I'll have 3, 4, 5 are my numbers. Again, not equal to 4, so really, really, really close. We're going to go with an open circle. And greater than 4 points to the right, we shade to the right. Right? Finding numbers that are bigger than 4. If I want to now solve this actual multi-step inequality, just like solving equations, the 2 is attached to the variable, so we're going to leave that alone. And I want to get rid of the 5 first. So I would add 5 to both sides. So I'll have 2y is less than 12. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Y is less than 6. You can see this alligator even has a less than for his mouth right now. So my numbers will be 5, 6, and 7. It's not equal to 6. So it gets really, really close, but we're going to have an open circle. And less than means we're going to the left. Less than is to the left. This problem, now we have variables on both sides. And again, you know how to solve equations like this. In the past, I've been very adamant about saying, please, please, please move your variables first. This is one of those places where it really helps you if you're used to doing that, if you move your variables first. Because if I would move, for instance, the 4x at some point, I'll end up with a negative 2x. I'll have to divide by a negative and flip my sign. If I move the smaller variable and always take care of my variables first so I know where I want them, I don't have to do that dividing by negative thing. But don't forget, this is really a negative 4 is greater than or equal to 2x minus 1. So we're going to add 1. And I get that negative 3 is greater than or equal to 2x. And unfortunately, I can't extend my screen right here, so I'm going to have to just squeeze this in. So what I have right now is that negative 3 over 2, or negative 1.5, is greater than or equal to x. I told you I don't want the x to be on the right. I need the x to be first. So when I rewrite this, here's my x. See how the alligator's trying to eat the negative 3 over 2? So that's what I need here. And then you could write this as negative 3 over 2, or you could write it as negative 1.5, or negative 1.5. I'm guessing probably that's what most people would feel comfortable with. And I've said I need 3 things on my number line. I never said anything about 0. We don't have to have 0. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's negative 1. Here's negative 2. Negative 1.5 would be right in the middle. But this one could be exactly equal, which means a filled in circle. And I need less than. So less than goes to the left. There we go. Variables on both sides. So I'm going to move my smaller variable. Don't forget that's actually a negative. We're going to divide by the 3. So I get negative 7. Oh, and I even put an equal sign there. Is less than n. And I want my variable first. So n is greater than negative 7, right? The alligator's trying to eat the n. So here's negative 7. This will be negative 8 and negative 6. Open circle because it's not equal to negative 7, and it's greater than. Greater than goes to the right. These are the numbers that are bigger than negative 7. In this problem, I am going to get rid of this 1x. So I have 3 is greater than or equal to 2x minus 1x is just 1x, or just x. And then I'll add 4 to both sides, which gives me 7 is greater than or equal to x. So if I put my x first, I'll have that x is less than or equal to 7. 6, 7, and 8. It's equal, so it could be a filled in circle. And less than goes to the left. Right? We can't trust the sign at the beginning of our problem. A lot of times that is going to have to flip. All right, in this problem, clearly negative 3z is smaller than 2z, so I would want to add 3z. 15 is greater than 5z. Now when I divide, this is a positive number, so I don't need to flip my inequality sign for that. That'll give me that 3 is greater than z. However, I do want the z first, so when I do that, it kind of looks like I flipped my sign, but I'm not really just flipping my sign. All right, we're going to have 2, 3, and 4. It's not equal, so it's going to be an open circle, and less than goes to the left. All right. Last problem. I am going to add this 1y. Kind of wrote right over that. So 5y minus 3 is less than 12. I would want to get rid of my 3. So 5y is less than 15, and divide by 5. I get that y is less than 3, which I know it's a different variable, but it's going to end up looking exactly like the graph above. So 2, 3, and 4, open circle because it's not equal, and shading to the left. And I apologize, my handwriting really doesn't look as good on this tablet, but that's okay. So if we are solving multi-step inequalities, make sure that you do all of the regular problem-solving skills that you know to get a variable all by itself. And we really do want the variable to be on the left at the end of the problem. And remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you're going to have to flip your inequality sign. When you're graphing, we're going to decide if we're going to have a filled in or an open circle. And then we're going to have to decide if we shade left or right based on if it's a greater than or a less than. Now, the last problems that I have here, I want to be able to give you an inequality that's graphed and you tell me what the inequality is. Now in this one, I'm just going to use X for all of these. It is a filled in circle. It's at 3 right here. So when I write this, since it's filled in and it's going to the right, that's going to be greater than or equal to 3. Same number, still using 3 on this one, still filled in, but it's going to the left. So the difference is going to be that it's going to be X is less than or equal to 3. Okay, look at these two. They match the ones right above them. It's just that they've got open circles because this one's an open circle at 3. It'll just be that X is greater than 3. Open circle at 3, but going to the left, X is less than 3. Today you have a worksheet that says Solve and Graph Inequalities worksheet. I want you to do the odds. I want you to show all of your work just like we always do. And then when you're all done, there's a very short learning check in Schoology. Let me know if you need any help.